The focus of a coaching session is about positive reinforcement for the things they're doing well, and about ideas about other things that they could do that could even make it better. So the first rule of coaching is make it scheduled. Schedule it with somebody a couple of days down the road. Let them prepare for it. Make sure that they understand it. And have a sit down with them and talk to them about it. Hear what they have to say about the work that they are doing.
There are a couple of easy strategies to use, and I say they're easy because they're not complicated, but you have to practice them to get good at them. And one of the first ones is ask open-ended, non-judgmental questions. That means you need to ask questions that can't be answered by a yes or no. And the best questions are who, what, where, and when questions. You noticed I left out why. I left out why because even though technically it's an open-ended question, it sounds judgmental. Another strategy is to stop using the word but and replace it with and. And the reason for that is because you say, wow, you did a great story, but you did X. They don't hear everything before the but. It negates it. So if you can remove the buts and start using ands, that's another simple strategy. Again, takes practice. One tool you can also use is reflective listening. A lot of people will have a coaching session with someone and say, okay, do you get it? Are we on the same page? That makes, of course the person's gonna say, well, yeah, I get it, of course, I'm not stupid, even if they don't get it. So what you wanna say is, can you repeat to me the things that we've agreed to in this conversation? You're asking them to reflect after listening on what they've heard, and that's another strategy you can use to make sure you're both on the same page.
One of the things that I had to learn the hard way was it didn't matter what really I said to somebody. What mattered was what they heard. So if I may think I'm being very direct and explaining something well, but if they don't quite understand what I'm saying, they're not going to be able to put it into action.
Another strategy is where you sit. Instead of sitting behind your desk and talking at someone in the authoritative teacher position behind the desk, move around, get another chair, and talk to them across from each other. Use open body language, not closed body language. Lean in when you're listening and talking to them. That's another great strategy for good coaching. Another suggestion is not to use the word attitude. And the reason for that, attitude is very subjective. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Attitudes are very subjective, but behavior is something that is observed and can be changed. So if for example, let's say I'm sitting talking to you like this, right? And I'm having this conversation this way with you. Now you might say, wow, really closed up. This guy is very uncomfortable, does not want to be talking to me like this. Or I might just be cold. So let's understand that behaviors can be misunderstood. Behaviors can be changed. Attitudes are very difficult to change. Don't take that on. Let's change the behavior. Let's not worry about the attitude, because with behavior can come attitude change.
You always want to be specifics, and you want to be specifics about behavior. That's a key in good coaching. Sometimes when you get into a coaching conversation, people will try to distract you with other issues, and you want to bring it back and say, okay, I appreciate you're concerned about those things. We're going to talk about X right now. And you need to keep bringing it back. It's also important at the end of that coaching conversation that you have a follow-up set so that you know that you're going to get back together at X time to discuss the action you agreed upon.
After we talk about something, let's talk about what we just talked about. Simple things like, what did we agree on? Do we need to commit that to writing? And then is there a follow-up that we need to set to make sure that we are taking action on the things we talked about?
The onus needs to be on them to keep track of it, to make notes, and to come back to you to show they've done it. It's critical in good coaching that they're responsible for that action, and then you're responsible for setting the meeting and making sure they bring it back to you. That's your job.
We have to get out of the phase of always thinking about we're only coaching people or dealing with things when there are problems. You know, there's a lot to that whole catching people doing something right and celebrating it in the newsroom makes a huge difference because we're showing everybody but what we hope to achieve. To me, that's coaching.